Monday, 9th of July 2018. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming via YouTube streaming, via Facebook streaming, and also via Skype group. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming. The search for the eternal. What we call scripture, each scripture emerges in a unique way, but we give it a philosophical, intellectual texture. The message of each scripture is contained not in the words, not anywhere else, but in the silence that it creates. Holy Prophet was Ummi, unlettered, and what he has, what emerged out of his silence, his state of meditation, it is beyond the understanding of the intellectuals, the philosophers and thinkers. Each tries to give its own interpretation for a particular surah or a particular verse. When you look at the Bible, it is the same story. When you look at Bhagavad Gita, it is the same. The war was over. Vedavyas saw the relevance in the message of Krishna. He tried to encompass it. He had a vision, and with that vision, he realized that this is of something significant. But after the vision was over, or he came out of the state of meditation, he forgot everything. Second day, the same thing happened. And third day, he requested, he prayed, that if this message that is, I am getting the vision of, is of importance for humanity, give me a support that it can be written. And then as a scribe, the elephant head god appeared and he said, I am a fast writer. If you will stop anywhere, I will go away. You have to continue to speak. And vision is not something that it can come continuously, it can come in parts, and when you are explaining that, the continuity may be lost. While Krishna was giving the message, or the communion between Krishna and Arjuna was going on, the warriors were arrayed in the battlefield facing one another, and between the two in no war zone was the chariot of Arjuna, where Krishna was giving the message. There is an important conversation between the three important warriors on the Kaurav side. One was the grandsire Bhishma, the other was their archery teacher Dronacharya, and third was their spiritual master Kripacharya. Bhishma, the grandsire, his only fault was he was an embodiment of truth, but he was siding, the three of them were siding the wrong side because of a wrong belief that I have eaten your salt, I cannot betray you. Bhishma gave a promise to his father that he will always remain aligned to the throne. He says that he is aware of that something is happening between Krishna and Arjuna, but he is not able to decipher what is happening between the two. Through his intuitive vision, intuition, he is able to decipher that something very important and significant is happening between the two by looking at the gestures. If there are two people at a distance from you engaged in a conversation, you can see their expressions, and from their expressions you can see that something very significant is happening, but these words are not audible to you. You cannot hear them. So something like that is happening, and all of them, three in a unison voice. What is that state of Arjuna? He seems to be confused. Then the grandsire says, as long as Krishna is around, there can never remain any confusion in his mind. And one sentence he makes it that is very significant. I know there is something very significant is happening between the two. I wish I could hear half a line. So it was, the distance may not be much, but was it a whisper? Whisper happens when two ladies are talking among themselves. Normally among men, the conversation is always at a high pitch. So one thing is clear, and from my own understanding, the message of these scriptures is not in the words or in sutras that comprise the text. Instead, it is embedded. It is embedded in and manifests through the cosmic presence of the one through whom it descended. In case of Holy Quran, it manifests through the presence, cosmic presence, that Holy Prophet is. In case of Bhagavad Gita, it is embedded in and manifests through the cosmic presence that Krishna is. It is the subtleness of the presence that Holy Prophet communed with Sahabis. depending on individual capabilities of understanding. Hazrat Abu Bakr understood, Hazrat Ali understood, and all other Sahibis understood it. Krishna's message was communed through Arjuna. The subtleness of the presence that Krishna communes Arjuna with, and the silence that surrounds the syllables, is spoken through Krishna. Is spoken through Krishna. The words of Holy Quran were spoken through Holy Prophet. At the moment, this you will understand from the composition of Mirza Ghalib when he says, "Aate ye mazami khayal mein ghaib se." From an unknown realm, they descend through you. To say that Holy Prophet appeared in front of God and God tell him that, this is all childlike stories. As a grown-up person, we have to understand that Holy Prophet went in a state of meditation, intense meditation, when he was connected to the cosmic presence, and the message happened through him. Message happened through him. Remember, stories hang around our consciousness for a longer period of time and we do not forget. So that's why these anecdotes and stories have been created by the Sufis and other masters and other awakened ones, so that you can remember these. The initial verse of the celestial song, and in fact each verse, each sutra of Bhagavad Gita or Holy Quran is a cone, is a riddle, is a riddle that has to be solved not through intellect. For instance, the goose is out. The cone is the goose somehow or the other went in a bottle, and how to get the goose out. The riddle is the goose was never in. It appeared to be in. So this is the very purpose of cone. Zen is filled with cone. Sufi path, the Naqshbandi path, uses parables, where the impossible, through the parables, through the cone, the impossible is said, so that you can understand. The initial verse of the celestial song of silence, song that creates silence in you. If Holy Quran cannot create silence in you, you have not understood it. You are not close to it as yet. If Bhagavad Gita cannot create silence within your storming mind, you have not understood the message. Is actually a cone that is supra-rational and cannot be deciphered by any mental gymnastic. It is simply beyond the human horizons. The message of Bhagavad Gita is beyond human horizon, all the intellect, all the PhD, all the doctorate, all that paraphernalia. And this sets the tone for the ambience of Bhagavad Gita. The essence of Bhagavad Gita is the silence that Krishna seeks to create in the perturbed mind of Arjuna. A single verse of Holy Quran, you understood it. It is capable of creating a silence within you. The moment silence is established within you, you have encompassed the message of Holy Quran. The message of the scripture is contained in the silence, and it can only be understood by communing you with that silence. Krishna is the silent, there is no ripples in his mind. And when there is no ripple, there is no conflict, there is clarity of the vision. When the mind is disturbed, there is chaos, there is many kind of storms taking place, then your vision is clouded, there is no clarity, your peace and serenity is disturbed. The only purpose of the Master is to commune you with that silence and connect you with that, and the moment that happens, his role is finished. The rest will happen on its own. During his mental and emotional turmoil, usually the intelligence is lost. Intellect could not reflect the true state of things. For instance, you have your laptop, it has programs installed into it. If there is a virus in it, that because of that virus, that software cannot function properly and it will give wrong results. So the state of turmoil, a state of disturbance is kind of a virus that has plagued your mind, and you have lost your creativity, you have lost your clarity. Each verse that happened through Krishna, I am emphasizing this because nowhere in Bhagavad Gita it is said that Krishna spoke. There is one verse spoken by the blind king. A couple of the verses are spoken by the narrator Sanjay, and more verses are spoken by Arjuna as an inquiry, and a certain number of verses, a largest number of verses are spoken through Krishna. Just as Ghalib says, "Aate ye mazami ghaib se khayal mein," these thoughts that come to my mind that are penned through me, over these I have no control. Sometimes you will realize your intelligence, you are very much at peace within, then the thoughts begin to flow without any restriction because there is nothing obstructing the flow of thoughts. The electric current is already flowing. There is a direct connection between the national grid and your supply at the house. If there is a shorting somewhere, then there is a discontinuity of the flow of thoughts, flow of the current. So verses spoken through Krishna were in fact designed to create silence and the gaps of silence within the disturbed mind of Arjuna. It is here the hidden secrets are revealed, the hidden secrets of any scripture. I mean any scripture, because the essence of each scripture is the same. The words are different because it is spoken differently and is spoken to different people. And a German is teaching a dish to German people how to make pizza, and an African is teaching in South Africa how to make pizza to South African people. An Indian is speaking, a Mexican, different people teaching how to make a pizza to different set of people. Their expressions will be different, but the taste of the pizza, once it is made properly, will be the same. The same way, the scriptures are based on the recipes of the inner. Like a master chef, Jesus, Holy Prophet, and Krishna prepared the platter for your consumption. So the purpose is to create silence within. As I mentioned, the clue was, the grandsire says, there is something going on between Arjuna and Krishna. I wish I could hear half a verse. To the blind king, Sanjay narrated it. But neither were transformed. Sanjay was not transformed. The blind king was not transformed, because they did not hear the wordless. And the secret of Bhagavad Gita is contained in the wordless. The celestial song of silence, that is the message of Bhagavad Gita. The celestial song of silence is the essence of Holy Bible. The secret of the celestial song of silence is the essence of Holy Quran. But the custodians of Bible and Holy Quran will not call it celestial song of silence, because that will begin to resonate with the Hindu heart. Put aside your mind, knowledge, speculative curiosity, and come, plunge into the fathomless ocean of eternal silence. Plunge into the fathomless ocean of eternal silence. This is your very source. This is your very source where the entire message is contained and where you can search for the eternal. All search or inquiry is for that which abides forever, that which is eternal, beyond time and space. Victory and immortality are two sides of the same coin. In Mahabharata, the Pandavas were seeking victory over falsehood. And in a way, it is immortality. The moment you know your immortality, that you cannot be destroyed, you are victorious. The moment you know your immortality, you are victorious, never before it. To think that you are body is to remain defeated. Body means that which comes through the interaction of ovum and sperm, and one day it dissolves. Mind comes as conditioning over the process of growth, and one day that too dissolves. Understanding the mind, living in the realm of body and mind, is to remain defeated. To think that you are mind is to remain in the dark night of the soul. To remain in the mind is to remain in the dark side of the soul, dark night of the soul. And to believe that you are a body and mind is the root cause of the misery. Body comes into existence, it is born, mind and the body are connected to one another. The moment body is there, mind comes in. The moment you become oblivious of the body, the mind vanishes. The moment you become oblivious of the mind, the body vanishes. The presence of body vanishes for you, the psychological presence. And body and the mind is the root cause of all misery. The moment you become aware that you are something transcendental to body and mind, something more, something beyond, immediately great bliss descends on you. I have spoken on bliss yesterday. The bliss is the beginning of your victory. You have discovered the source of bliss. You are victorious. As you go deeper into this transcendental consciousness, you become aware of your eternity, your timelessness, and you become victorious. You were here before birth, but in a form that you know it not, you can recognize you not, and you will be here even after death. Death happens only to the body-mind structure, not to you. It is impossible for you to die. Consciousness, which is another way of saying, it is through consciousness that soul operates, the being operates. Consciousness is immortal. It is the working principle. And unless one knows consciousness, how can you live joyfully? When death is the end of everything, everything becomes pointless. All your creativity is pointless. If death is the end of it all, then what is the purpose of creativity? What is the purpose of these talks? All your love is of no avail if death is the end of it all. There is no end, there is no need. All your joys are nothing but operations to something to keep you somehow occupied so that you can avoid the constant knock of death on you. Death continuously goes on knocking at your door, so all your joys are nothing but simply somehow to keep you occupied that so that you can avoid the constant knock of death on your door. You are engaged in pleasure, you are engaged in joy. You forget that death may happen any time. But for how long can you avoid? Whether you listen to the knock or not, one day it is going to happen. One day death walks in. It does not even ask, may I come in? It simply comes in and you are caught unaware. And it does not give you a single moment to prepare. You cannot take anything of whatsoever you have accumulated and for which you have wasted your precious life. Death simply dismantles your whole life's efforts. With death, one cannot feel any meaning in life. If everything ends in the grave, what does it matter whether you are a saint or a sinner? Whether you were world famous or just nobody? Whether you were a president of a country or just an ordinary citizen in an office? For death, all is the same. Death equalizes everyone. Death comes like a fury, and no power can fury its ebb. It has been going and shall go forever without a break. It comes like a bulldozer and goes on equalizing and leveling everything flat on the ground. But if there is something more than that in you that defies death, only then life has meaning. Then that you are doing becomes significant. Then that which you are doing becomes significant. Then each act has value because each act is coming out of the immortal source, from eternal, your being. It represents you. And it is not only representing you, instead it also reveals you to others and to yourself. It is a manifestation of your innerness, manifestation of your being. Then your creativity becomes your manifestation. Then whatsoever you are doing has significance in the context of eternity. You are made out of the same stuff that existence is made of. You may be a single drop, but you have the qualities of the ocean. Jesus says, I am the saltishness in salt. Then to be a sinner or to be a saint makes a difference. Then to be a creator or a destroyer makes a difference. Then the grave is not the end and death is just superficial. Deep within you are deathless and beyond time and space. Victory is possible only if you come to know the deathless in you. This is what Krishna says to Arjuna. All these people, they are death bound. Their visas have been expired. They are bound to die. Either you give them death or I. And victory means to understand your immortality, your deathlessness, your timelessness. Victory is possible only if you come to know the deathless in you. Indeed, it can be known. But how to begin the journey? Initiation, bath, is the way to begin the journey. To enter the path is the way. Only this much for this morning. Until tomorrow, take care and do have a pleasant day.